What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Hockeytown University. You are here with me, once again, your host, Zack. I'm all alone. There's no one here besides me. That's the Shrek reference that y'all needed today. It is Monday morning. It is currently 8 a.m. where I'm at. Thank you for joining me. If you guys are returning, if you are new, thanks for stopping by. I definitely do appreciate it, and so do my hosts that are not with me this morning. What do we got in store today? Well, we got around the league news, lots of it, lots of Red Wings news, and just Red Wings topics in general. We've been a little lackadaisical. We definitely do apologize for that. We're definitely going to get better moving forward here, and so we look forward to it. Hopefully, y'all do too. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So around the league news, what do we got? We got the Seattle Kraken and the Vegas Golden Knight Winter Classic jerseys. The Seattle Kraken jerseys were leaked by the Utah Jazz a couple weeks ago, which is weird that a basketball team was the one to leak it and they're not in Seattle. Yeah, really weird. I like the jerseys. I think it's pretty cool. I like how the lettering is in the logo. Golden Knights, it's just a giant V. 5-year-old made it, I think. They definitely could have done better. I'm a true Knights fan outside of the Red Wings fandom. I really was a huge fan of them right before they actually became a team in their inaugural season. So wish they could have done better with that. But Tree, hope you enjoyed that Seattle Winter Classic, buddy. Let's see. Marc-Andre Fleury not allowed to wear native heritage mask. The NHL is a clown show. I think Matt is the one who wrote that down in our notes here. I think they did allow him to wear it in practice. I'm not exactly sure. They were kind of going back and forth with it. I don't think that he ended up getting fined, which is great. I don't know why you would get fined for that, but not exactly sure if he got to wear it. Hopefully he did, but the NHL is starting to turn into the NFL, the no fun league. Gary Bettman, you need to do a little bit better. All right, what else? Marc-Andre Fleury. Andrei Vasilevskiy returns to Tampa Bay. That just makes the Atlantic that much more difficult. What does that mean for the Red Wings? Well, you got to play a little bit better, right? I mean, the league is getting a little bit tougher in terms of the standings. Tampa Bay is tied with the Detroit Red Wings in terms of points. Red Wings have one more win than they do, same amount of points at 25. One more regulation win and then one more regulation overtime win than the Tampa Bay Lightning. But also plus 10 goal difference than the Tampa Bay Lightning, 14 for the Red Wings, for the 4 for the Tampa Bay Lightning. So who knows if Vasilevskiy is going to be the one to turn things around for Tampa Bay. Not that they're doing bad, but with Johansson and that for them, that kind of kept them in the murky middle of this tough Atlantic. So we'll just have to wait and see and how things turn out. But Boston continues to run the show over there, and Panthers seem to be coming back around, but they just lost out on Barkov. So keep an eye on that. Let's see if the Red Wings can kind of turn it around now that they're on a heater right now. Sam Girard entering NHLPA program for severe anxiety and depression, which is leading to alcohol abuse. It's always good to hear when a player is entering on his own. Hopefully he gets the help that he needs, and, good on him for being the man to put himself in that position to want to get better. Everyone should be doing that every day, and that's great to hear from him, and hopefully all the best for him and his family, and hopefully he can get better from that. Jacob Trouba, the New York Rangers captain, was fined $5,000 for his baseball swing on Trent Frederic from the Boston Bruins. Now, I didn't see it real time. I did see it on social media slowed down. It's a swing to the head, accidental or not. He at least got fined. That's fine. Trouba kind of has a little bit of a reputation for being a shithead, out on the ice, being that captain, So, but swinging your stick against someone on the head is not the way to go about it. But a lot of New York Rangers fans were defending him, saying that he was falling down backwards, thus forcing him to swing a stick to gain more balance. I don't see how that's logical, but anything's possible, right? So the league did fine him $5,000, the Department of Player Safety. So maybe a game was there. I think you probably should have given him a game. That's my thought, but okay. Raanta breaks record for the worst save percentage in history with a .429 goals against average, and then he had 8 goals against on 14 shots. Raanta, I think your days in the NHL are over after that one, buddy. That's a tough one to come back from. So best of luck to you and your future in the NHL. So let's move on to Red Wings news. This is going to be a quick episode if you guys haven't figured that out, since it is myself. I could go a little more in depth about these, but I figured on our next episode, if we really wanted to, we could allow the boys to go more in depth. But Red Wings news. Red Wings currently sit third in the Atlantic, like I mentioned, tied in points with the Panthers and the Lightning with a 14-goal differential, which is amazing, right? I don't think in Red Wings past we've seen a team like this in many years. So this is a great first quarter to the season with 20 games played so far. The only reason why the Red Wings are third is because the Florida Panthers have one more regulation overtime win than the Detroit Red Wings. So Red Wings are still in there. It's good to see that they're third. They're not kind of staying intact with the wild card spots, so that's great to see. So the Metro looks like it's doing pretty decent, but the Atlantic still seems to reign supreme in that regard. And so as long as we can stay in the third or in the top wild card spot, I think the Red Wings still have an obvious chance. But this is obviously different mindset than our last recording, right? Where it seemed like we were pretty heavily negative on the team, but with this heater that they've been on recently, my mind's been changing. Surprised? I'm not. Anyways, so Edvinsson, we're going over to Grand Rapids Griffins for a little bit here. And his last 5 games has put up 6 points with Grand Rapids Griffins. A call-up is bound to happen at some point this season. But when? That's the question. That's the $1 million question. And with Walman being out, which was going to be my next thing, so we're just going to head on over to that. Walman has been out for the last 2 games due to illness. Seider has been paired with Ghost Despair. Walman also was injured for a little bit, so Seider has been getting along or paired well along with Ghost Bear, it seems, these last couple games. So that's great to see, honestly, that, if, Walman did end up being out long term, it did seem like that we would be okay on our top pairing. The only issue is obviously is that bottom pairing, or 2 players that we love to name off, which is Jeff Petrie and Ben Girard. Last couple games, it's been all right. Still some goals that you probably shouldn't allow to get in, but like I keep on saying, boys have been on a heater, 3 games. It's been amazing, so can't complain. But with Simon Edvinsson, going back to that, it's got to happen eventually. I made the bold prediction that it would be before Thanksgiving. I'm clearly wrong on that. Here we are. It's November 27th. And so I don't know when it's going to happen at this point, but I figured it's got to be soon. Maybe it really does just come down all to injuries, if you have all of your defensemen injured. But I think eventually something's going to have to give, where one of these defensemen, they're just going to get burned so bad, like Petrie kind of does and how Ben Girard does, that Lalone and Yzerman might get sick of it, and they'll just be like, okay, well, Edvinsson, come on up. We got it going, buddy. All right, cool. Last but not least in the Red Wings news, Elliot Freeman says Detroit is still in the mix, but should know early this week on where Patrick Kane will end up. When will the saga end? Hopefully today or tomorrow, honestly. This is just getting a little ridiculous. I keep on going back and forth. I keep on saying I would love to have a Patrick Kane. Is he needed on this team? No. We don't have an issue with scoring. Our issue currently, from the looks of it, it's still defense and it's still goaltending, which is weird to say because we've won the last 3 games. Alex Line has looked really good. Husso came back and has looked decent. I don't know what the deal is with Reimer, but how much longer are we going to start carrying these 3 goaltenders? One of them has to be traded eventually, in my personal opinion, or you have to waive one. I know that Alex Zarnik got waived recently. That's Red Wings news that I can put out there as well. How come not James Reimer? I really don't think that he is needed on this team anymore. Do I think someone can pick him up? Possibly. Makes a little over $1 million. But I also think that he might have a little bit of trade value. His stats really aren't that bad. I think that he could be serviceable with a different team in his 6 games. He's got a 2.30 goals against and a 9.17 save percentage. Alex Lying has a 1.35 goals against with a 9.52 save percentage. I don't think a team's going to take a flyer on Husso, who's sported in his 11 games a 3.47, 8.88 save percentage. Yikes. That's really bad. Main topics. Let's go into the games. So the Wings do finish the Thanksgiving holiday week with a 3-game win streak over the New Jersey Devils, winning 4-0 with an Alex Lying shutout. 5-2 win against Boston, and then a 4-1 win against the Minnesota Wild. So let's backtrack here and let's go back to the New Jersey Devil game. So Alex Lying records a shutout. In his first 2 games, he has recorded a 9.33 save percentage. Now with this herd, we just mentioned that he has a 9.52. It's only gone up, which is ridiculous because he did get us the win against the Minnesota Wild as well with only 1 goal against. Raymond continues to score. He got a couple that game. There were a couple new lines where they put Veleno on the top line. They put Alex DeBrincat on the second line. It worked. It worked. Sometimes you have to do a little bit of shuffling and you have to put good talent on other lines to get things moving and rolling. And so I think moving Alex DeBrincat wasn't a bad decision as long as you're still giving him the playing time. So if you have to double shift him, go ahead and do it. Larkin scores and gets the monkey off his back. Yeah, Dylan Larkin wasn't doing anything for a solid week and a half. He didn't record any points at one point. Him and DeBrincat both were leading the league with over 2 points per game. Now he's kind of barely cracking that 1 point per game, where he's got 21 points, 8 goals, 13 assists in 20 games. Alex DeBrincat is a point per game player currently. We all knew eventually that was going to go down, right? We didn't think that they were going to finish as 2 point per game players. However, I didn't think that they were going to hit such a slow period after such a hot start that they did, right? Where it kind of did make us nervous as fans a little bit, but glad to see that they're finally picking it back up. Now, moving on to the Boston game. Boston now has 3 losses, so this really doesn't count, but 2 of the 3 Boston regulation losses have come from Detroit. That's awesome. If Matt were here, he would be calling them frauds, and he did put that in the notes on here at the very bottom. So good job, Matt. Husso gets a big win versus top team after having a baby. Yep, that was a great win by Husso. I think he looked good. He still just needs to clean some things up, and it's not going to get better now that he has a baby. He's going to get a lot of restless nights. He's going to be really tired a lot. So I hope he's ready. And I hope we're all ready for that. So Alex DeBrincat, Comfort, and Ghost Bear get 2 points each in that game, which makes me ask the question, is Comfort the legit 2 seed that the Red Wings have been needing basically for the last 15 years, it seems like, right? Ever since the Stephen Weiss era. Since that game, in 19 games, JT Compher has recorded 16 points. 4 of them being goals, 12 of them being assists. That is awesome. This is exactly what we have needed for a long time. And that really does make me feel bad for Andrew Copp, for someone who only has 5 goals, 2 assists, 7 points in 20 games. I don't know what we have to do with Andrew Copp to get him a little more motivated to put up more points. However, this isn't to diss on Andrew Copp. We were excited for him to come in as the 2C last year. Did we think it was going to work? It did towards the end, but he also had that core muscle surgery. So benefit of the doubt right there, right? Now what is it this time? You're playing on the wing. You're not playing center. He'll go down the 3C sometimes, right? If he needs to. He's on the penalty kill, right? He's not exactly on the power play. So that takes away a lot of the scoring for him too. But Andrew Copp keeps on doing what he needs to do, honestly, and I'm all for it. He's only a -2 right now. in the plus minus category. Not saying that that's what we should be looking at, but he brings leadership value as well too. So it's great for that point. So let's see. Fabry continues point streak, and we'll actually talk more about Fabry. But yeah, Fabry came back from his injury. He's actually been doing really well. I believe he put up 2 goals in that game, and so Fabry looks like that he could be having quote unquote breakout year. Hopefully he doesn't get injured again, but for someone who consistently is injured, he looks like that he could get close to 40 points. Hopefully, maybe to 20 goals. We'll just have to wait and see. But I do think it could possibly be there. But y'all know that I particularly am not a Fabry fan, not because of the player, but because of his injury history. He just cannot stay consistent with being healthy. He's always injured. He always somehow misses anywhere from 15 to 20 games plus each season. And I personally can't wait for his contract to be over because I don't think it's worth the price that we're paying for him. So, but good on Fabry. I'm glad to see that he's actually rebounding after being out. So, all right. Raymond on a 5-game point streak as well. That's a note from the Boston game. So we'll actually continue on with that in the game that happened yesterday on Sunday against the Minnesota Wild, because Lucas Raymond did end up getting another point in that game. So what I have here is the Red Wings winning 4-1 against the Wild, and I put down Lucas Raymond. Is he entering God form right now? Raymond in his last 5 games has 5 points. In his last 10 games, I'm pretty sure he has 8 points. Lucas Raymond is finally starting to turn it around after a slow start to the season, where I think that this is exactly the type of player that the Red Wings have been needing for him to become, right? Is someone who not only can be a playmaker, but someone who can also score goals. And you can see it in his shot too. His shot looks harder. It looks quicker. He's rifling off those shots, right? And so he's doing a really good job at that. I really do think that he has the potential to get 70 points this season if all goes well. Right now he's got 16 and 20. He's 8-8. So good looks on Lucas Raymond. Larkin ties Franzen for 18th most points in franchise history with a goal in the game. Let's see. David Perron, Daddy P, scores career goals number 299 and 300, scoring 2 goals against the Minnesota Wild. Shane Gosper gets 4 points in this game, which makes up for his 5th multi-point game this season. This was the signing that caught a lot of people off guard during the offseason, right? And so a lot of people weren't really sure what to expect from Ghost Bear. Everyone kind of knew, he could be a really great power play 1 specialist. He's going to get you some goals. It's going to be great. He could probably get you 40 points. Right now, he's on pace to beat that. In 19 games, he's got 18 points. He's got 5 goals, 13 assists. If he gets over 10 goals, that's pretty crazy to me. I would not have expected that. If he gets close to 50 points, that would just blow me away. I think that is tremendous value, and we'll just have to wait and see how the Red Wings look once it gets closer to trade deadline, because if the Red Wings are out of the playoff hunt, Shane Gosper, you have to understand, would be on the trade block at that point, and you got to start thinking about what the Red Wings could get in a return for someone like a Shane Gosper who could control a power play 1 and just be lethal for you on the 5-on-5 as well with his shot. All right, now we're going into some of the dirty things that happened in the game, and this kind of came out later yesterday. Ryan Hartman to have a hearing with NHL's Department of Player Safety for slew-footing Alex DeBrincat. The funny thing about that is that Detroit ended up getting a penalty on that play. Reffing continues to be an issue. And then you go online, and there's a lot of salty Bruins fans saying Hartman shouldn't get a suspension because Trouba didn't get a suspension. Well, wait. Someone who did something bad shouldn't get reprimanded for it because someone else did something different and didn't get reprimanded for it. That doesn't make any sense. No matter what, if someone does something that they're not supposed to, that endangers another player, should be held accountable for it. Trouba was held accountable for it. He got a $5,000 fine. Was it a suspension? Obviously not. Should it have been a suspension? Sure. You probably shouldn't be swinging your stick no matter what, right? That's why they call high sticking. There's a rule. You shouldn't be throwing your stick around unless you're shooting a puck. So, Ryan Hartman will have that hearing today. Do I think that he should get a suspension? Yeah. Any player, even if it's a Red Wing player, if you do something wrong that you're not supposed to, you're probably going to get suspended. However, we all have seen this time and time again. NHL Department of Player Safety is not consistent. The reffing is not consistent. However, this is something that Gary Bettman needs to address immediately every year. Fix the reffing. Fix the way that you control Department of Player Safety and how they hand out their disciplines. It's that simple. It's really not that difficult. You just have to be consistent with it. If you see one player doing one thing and then 2 weeks later it happens again, you have to give them both the same thing. Obviously, there are situations where you have to change it up because there are certain players that have history and some that don't, right? Players like Trouba have a little bit of history. Players like Ryan Hartman, from my knowledge, I don't think he does. What's worse? Actually, it doesn't even matter what's worse, but let's ask it anyways. What's worse? Swinging a stick at someone's face or taking your stick and slew footing them and watching them fall on their head on the ice? Either way you look at it, both are bad. There's no way around it. You can't change anyone's mind. And so that's where I'm sticking with it. I think that's, Ryan Hartman, you probably should get a suspension. If you get fined, that's fine. We'll probably talk more about it the next time we record. So keep an eye out on that. So that's really it for me. I actually went by all these pretty quickly. I'm honestly shocked with myself. So one last thing that I want to do, actually two more things that I want to do. I want to go over the last 5 game points that some players on the Red Wings have had. Just kind of calling out some names on a good job or maybe haven't been doing as good of a job as we would like for them to do. So let's go ahead and do that. In the last 5 games, Dylan Larkin, 3 goals, 1 assist for 4 points. Awesome. That's great. Like I mentioned, before these 5 games, Larkin was really on a cold stretch. So glad to see he's actually starting to pick it up for being almost a point per game player. Alex DeBrincat, 2 goals, 3 assists for 5 points. Point per game. Same thing with Larkin. He's on a cold streak, finally starting to pick it back up. We love that. Ghost Bear, the dude's on fire. Granted, he did have a 4-point game against the Minnesota Wild, so that does help him out a little bit. But even if he took those away, he would still have 4 points in those 5 games. So in the 5 games, he's got 2 goals, 7 assists for 9 points. Hopefully the league recognizes him as a player of the week or player of the month, whatever. I don't know. I think that's ridiculous for a defenseman to do 9 points like that. That's awesome for him. JT Compher as well. 1 goal, 5 assists for 6 points. I think that's phenomenal for your 2 seed. That's more than I think what we could have asked for from JT Compher. He's been a major surprise for us. So I'm very happy that he's a Red Wing and that contract is starting to look really good for us. So shout out to all the haters that said that contract sucked. Till next time. All right, moving along. Lucas Raymond, 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 points. Killing it. Daniel Sprong, another surprise. He's been actually picking it up lately. I'm pretty sure he's been playing on the second line as of late, which is awesome to see. 1 goal, 3 assists for 4 points. DDP, who got 2 goals in the Minnesota Wild game. He's got 4 goals in the last 5 games. And then Robbie Fabry, like I mentioned, in the last 5 games, he got 3 goals, 1 assist for 3 points. And then we're going to talk about Moritz Seider here, who unfortunately has only had 1 assist in his last 5 games. And then in his last 10 games, when I saw, he's only had 2 points, which are 2 assists in the last 10 games. Part of it could be because of Wallman being injured and out sick. part of it could just be because he is trying to play a more defensive-minded game. Who knows? Honestly, Cider right now, he's got 12 points in 20 games. That's more than fine for me as long as he's doing what he's supposed to do, play defense first, then score later. That's good enough for me. And so it's attributing to these last 3 wins for us. And so I'm thankful for that. So can't really be too hard on him. So what's next up for the Red Wings this week? So let's go into that. So the next game will be on Wednesday, November 29th against the New York Rangers in New York at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then you got them playing the next day, Thursday, November 30th, at home in Detroit against the Chicago Blackhawks at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I do believe that we will be going live for that, so be on the lookout for that. We'd love for y'all to join on us watching the game. We obviously won't be showing the game, but at least talking along and experiencing it with us. I think it'll be a lot of fun, especially for that little rivalry that we got with the Chicago Blackhawks. And then finally on Saturday, December 2nd, we will be in Montreal playing against the Canadiens at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. I think that's it. Anyone else? It's just me here. So, all right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up. My final thoughts are let's go Red Wings. Keep up the hot streak. Larkin, DeBrincat, keep up the scoring. I need you guys to do a little bit more, though. DeBrincat, I want you to get to those 40 goals. Larkin, I really want you to be over a point per game player. Cider, I'm not too worried about you. I know you'll pick it up eventually here with the points, but keep doing what you're doing. You're being a big body. You're laying out people out on the ice. Keep it up. JT Comfort, you're an animal. Shane Cosper, you're an animal too. All around, great effort by the boys. Alex Lyon, hopefully we can start seeing some more starts from him. And that's about it from me. Until then, I'll see y'all on the next one. If you are returning, thank you for returning. If you are new, make sure you are hitting that subscribe button and hitting the thumbs up button. We really do appreciate it. If you're also on Spotify, make sure you're rating 5 stars and that you are following us. Until next time, everyone, I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye-bye.